What's up guys, welcome back or to the channel. It's Mike, the Smokin monkey, and today we've got a good one. I've got a little bit of maintenance to do on the Jeep after our last trail session, and basically it was pulling a little bit to the left on my way home from the trail last time, and I basically started looking at a couple things when I got home. I looked at the tire pressure, I looked at to see if there was any kind of dirt anywhere behind anything, and I also went and took it for another test drive. Now when I got back from my test drive, I was moving a couple things and I was shaking a couple things just to see where it would be, maybe something would be loose or anything like that, and I actually found a little bit of noise coming from the back tire, and I don't know if it's normal or not. So basically I took a video of it, I asked a few people, and I also took it to my mechanic. He said it might be okay, but it might be a wheel bearing, and it could also be a track bar. So I'll go down there, I'll show you guys exactly what that noise is, I'll try to recreate it for you, but I don't think it's a wheel bearing. So I'm gonna go for a drive first. We're gonna see exactly what that noise is, what that noise is coming from, because I don't think it's coming from anything while you're driving. I think it's just something that's loose or something that isn't seated properly. So we will try to find that. I will show you guys that noise before we go for a drive. And the one thing that I do want to do today also is take off the wheels in the front and the back, adjust my parking brake because the parking brake is not holding, and I also want to clean out the clean out the rotors, the pads, and inside of the actual piston of the caliper. So just clean out basically everything that I can and see if that'll help with the braking pull, because it's not that hard, it's not that apparent. It's only under hard braking it pulls a little bit to the left. When you're driving normally in the city, you don't really notice it at all. So I hope I can fix it. I hope we can track it down. So we're gonna basically see if the wheel bearings in the back are good, check the track bar in the back, check any loose bolts, adjust the brakes in the back, and clean the brakes in the front. Hopefully that fixes all our issues and we can get back out on the trail this weekend. And if it does fix our issues, then we will be back out on the trail this weekend. And I got a few new tools, and before we head out, I'll show you guys exactly what I got, because it's going to make our life a lot easier. And that's right, we got ourselves some more Milwaukee power tools. I like Milwaukee, it's never let me down. They have the most power for the amount of money you spend, and honestly, they're just really good tools. So this is the Gen 2 impact driver, and it will do up to, I think, 650 foot-pounds of fastening, or no, 650 foot-pounds of loosening torque, 550 of fastening torque. It's got the 3 lights there on the front, and the beautiful thing about this guy is we can finally do everything a little bit quicker, and we don't have to actually struggle with doing everything by hand. So I used to actually be a mechanic. I used to use pneumatic tools for everything, and having power tools again is so nice. I cannot wait to actually start using this thing. And in here we've got the new tool that's going to help us take care of our body work and possibly cut our fenders in the future. But right now we've got to take care of some rust, so I got myself a die grinder, and it's a little bit hard to see, but it is a M12 Milwaukee die grinder. I've got the 2 batteries and the charger and all of that good stuff. Hopefully we will be putting this thing to use soon, go out and take care of a bit of body work on the Jeep and a few other things. So here we are at the Jeep, and this is the noise that I was talking about. Now that could be a number of things. It could be the bearing, it could be the track bar, it could even be just the axle sliding in and out because it is a C-clip axle. So let's go for a drive. Let's see if we hear any wheel bearing noise, and then we'll go and we'll check for the wheel bearing and we'll check for the track bar, and then we'll get at least an answer or something, and we'll move on from there. Let's go for a drive now, and we'll cruise at lower speed, then we'll cruise at a little bit higher speed, and we'll see if we hear anything from the wheel. But like I said, I haven't heard anything. It's been driving pretty damn good, and I think, honestly, I think it's the track bar. I don't think it's the bearing. I don't think it's anything else. I think it's the track bar, and I think it's the mount at the body, because I checked all the other mounts, including the mount at the actual axle. I've checked the rear sway bar, I've checked the rear shocks, I've checked a few other things, as well as the track bar connection at the actual axle, and honestly, it didn't make any noise. So now let's go. We're gonna cruise now at 40 kilometers an hour. And I don't hear anything, I don't feel anything. It honestly drives as it should. So let's keep going, let's keep rolling, and we'll see if anything changes. All right, let's get it going a little bit faster now. Let's take it up to 80 kilometers an hour, and we're gonna go through an underpass, so we should definitely hear it if there is a wheel bearing issue. And there is no noise, I don't hear anything. I honestly think that it is the track bar, and I will tell you guys why when we get back, because I'll show you guys another way to check for the track bar. But right now, let's bring it up a little bit faster. So we're going about 80 kilometers an hour now. Honestly, I don't hear a wheel bearing. I have the window open, and if it was a wheel bearing, you would definitely hear something. You would hear it whining or moaning, humming. You would hear something. You would hear a constant noise that would get louder as you drive faster, and we're not getting that. So let's do that test again. We'll do this side, then we'll do the other side, and you'll see that that side, it's not as loud, and the reason for that is I think it's the track bar. Now let me show you guys. Now the other way that you can test for track bar is by rocking the body, and you see how we're getting pretty much the same noise. I think that's the track bar. Now let me put the camera underneath, I'll do it again, and I'll show you guys exactly what's moving, or you guys can tell me exactly what's moving. It's a little hard to see, but the track bar is right over there, and it connects to the axle right over here. So you have the bar right there, and it travels all the way up and connects to the body right up there. So I'm gonna move everything, and you guys can see that I think it's the track bar at the body mount. I just watched the footage back, and it's a little hard for me to tell by looking at the little screen on my camera, but it doesn't seem like I can see any movement there right now. It will be easier for me to check when I get home, but at that point I won't be really saying anything. So if you guys notice anything, let me know where you guys see the movement. But the next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna jack up the rear, and we're gonna make sure that it's not the actual bearing. We're gonna move around the tires, show you guys how to check for the bearing, and then I'm going to take off the wheels and we'll adjust the back brakes, and hopefully we'll have a little bit of e-brake, because as you guys can see, even right now sitting on the driveway, it's chalk life all day, because I can't trust this thing. And I think that if you have a Jeep, you probably have the same experience as me, because like I'd say 90% of the Jeep Wranglers that I know don't have an e-brake, no matter what you do. Even if you get it fixed and you get all new parts like I do, I have new calipers in the front, new wheel cylinders in the back, new brake lines in the back, new drums, new shoes, new pads, new rotors. Everything with the braking system is new basically. Still no e-brake, and I've had it adjusted like 3 or 4 times. So let's see what happens there. I don't know, I think it's just a Jeep thing. And I've checked, the cable's not stretched, and today I'm not going to be playing with the cable because I'm not adjusting the cable. I'm not really trying to go that deep into it. I'll try to adjust the shoes and see if we can adjust it at the drum, and if we can, we can. If we can't, we can't. But first things first, let's jack it up and let's check for that wheel bearing. Or I should say axle bearing, because it is inside the axle, it is pressed into the axle. It's not like a hub bearing. It is a little bit of a pain in the butt to do, so I hope I don't have to do it. But if we got to do it, you'll see it on the channel, because I'll be doing it on the driveway right there. The Jeep is safely jacked up. It's on the 2 stands resting on the axle, and then I've got the jack as extra support, so hopefully we should be good. But I gave it a shake test and she doesn't go anywhere. I shook it pretty good, and yeah, it's solid. Now that the wheel is off the ground, you guys can hear it's whisper quiet. So if there was anything wrong with this hub bearing, we would hear it. Now, this side, and there is a little bit of play, so it is starting to go. We might not have to do it right away because there isn't any noise. That noise that we're hearing, I'm not quite sure if it's coming from the actual wheel hub here or if it's coming from the pumpkin in the center, because you can hear it on both sides. I'm pretty sure what we're hearing is just the gears going around inside the actual differential, but let's take this wheel off and let's see exactly what's happening. Let's go check the wheel bearing on the other side first, and then we'll pop both wheels off. So there is very minimal play. I don't think it's anything that we should be concerned about right now because it is quiet, as you can see. And on a C-clip axle, you will be able to move the wheel in and out. And that's because of the way the axle is set up inside the actual differential. The C-clips, the way it's, I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but the way it's set up, it allows a little bit of movement inside. So that's exactly why you get that, and you'll get that on both sides. That's normal. Brand new thing of impact sockets. Don't mind if I do. Nothing like using new tools. Still got that new tool smell too. That's nice. So yeah, those shouldn't come off that easy, as you guys can tell. Now to do your adjustments, it's this little ring right here, and you can use a flathead screwdriver or a pair of pliers, and I'll show you guys that right now. Basically what you want to do is spread this out so that it spreads the pads, and you're going to want to throw the drum on there and check it every so often just to see how far you're actually spreading it so you don't go too far. You want them to just barely rub when you spin it. You don't want them to rub the whole way around. You want to kind of hear like a ch 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 ch, which means it's basically gonna hold when you use your e-brake. And believe me, that is how much you actually want it. You don't want it to be just before, because then your e-brake won't hold. So you can hear it catching. That's basically what you want to listen for, and you can see it still slides freely. You kind of do want it to slide on a little bit harder than that, so I will adjust it just a tiny bit more. And that's it. It seems I do need new shoes, and it looks like I will be ordering new shoes, but for now, we'll adjust what we've got. And that's the golden ticket. Now we'll slap the wheel back on, then we'll torque both of them. Don't forget to torque your wheels, and then we'll move on to the front and we'll clean out the brakes in the front. The track bar we will address. We have already ordered a new one. I'm just waiting to get it in. And basically, yeah, the rear end is pretty much sorted. Actually, we need a wheel bearing on this side. So if you guys listen to this one, that's what a bad wheel bearing sounds like. And you can see the up and down movement. It's very apparent, and you can see the whole assembly is moving back here. So that is a wheel bearing, and it doesn't seem like it's going to be too bad, so we'll probably pick one up and replace it this weekend. Yeah, And now let's just go and let's take care of the brakes. So let's take the wheels off, let's clean up all the brakes, and we should be good to go. Now that we have everything off, all we're gonna do is take out the 2 slider pins, remove the caliper, and then clean everything up. All the sliding surfaces I'll clean up behind the pads, and I'll put on a little bit more anti-seize, and we'll be good to go. Now, nothing looks to be cooked. Everything seems to be in pretty good shape. They honestly don't look too bad, and there's lots of meat left on them. So before my camera died just there, what I finished doing is I took my steel brush to all of these surfaces here, and as well here and here. These are all the surfaces basically where the pads are going to mate onto the sliding surface, and that's what you want to keep clean, and that's what you want to make sure is nice and lubed, so that when the pads are moving, they can move freely. So what we're going to do now to finish everything off is throw on a little bit of copper anti-seize just over the sliding surfaces. Try not to get it on your rotor. But if you do get a little bit on there, all you gotta do is just wipe it off, because it's not that big of a deal, but you don't want it on there. And if you get a little on the edge, it's not as bad. Try not to get it on the actual surface where the pads will meet. And now there is a torque spec for these, but I'm not gonna lie, I don't know it. I've done brakes enough times to know that just tight enough is the right torque spec, so just tight enough. Well guys, same thing. I got the wheel off now on the passenger side. So you already know the story, so I'm not going to walk you through it. So let's just get it done. Let's clean it all up, and we'll be on our way. So guys, before I actually start cleaning everything, you can see here, this side the pads are quite low. There is a lot more meat left on that side, and I don't know what the culprit for that is actually. I really don't. I'm going to pick up some new pads, and I'm going to pick up a new hub bearing for this side, but this, I don't know what the cause of this is. So if you guys know why it would be doing this, let me know. But it is pulling to the left, not to the right. And this is from the right side of the vehicle. So yeah, if you guys have any ideas or any suggestions on why the pads would be wearing so quick on the passenger side, let me know. You guys notice these ones aren't even the same finish as the other sliders on the other side, and you can see there's like a bit of buildup on these ones. I don't know from what, but it is not uncommon to have your sliders come out totally caked up and just dirty, but these ones are not even the same finish, and that kind of worries me because those ones are nice and smooth and they're kind of finished like a grade 8 bolt. These ones have like a texture to them and they're rough and hard, and I don't understand why they would be different. I replaced both calipers at the same time. They're both the same brand, they're both from the same place. I don't know why this one is like this, but maybe this is the reason why we're having the issue of this side getting used up quicker than the other side. It's not sliding as easy and it's not releasing the pads. But I know now why we have the brake pull. There's a lot more meat on that side, and those ones are coming into contact with the rotor a lot sooner when the pressure is applied to the brakes, because the pressure is even across all the brakes, and since the pressure is even and there's more meat on those pads, they're touching sooner and they're grabbing harder, and that's why we're having more braking force on that side. So replacing the pads will fix that. I don't know if that's because the caliper is starting to go inside the actual unit, like the piston, or if it's because of these shitty sliders. Whatever the case is, hopefully I don't have to replace anything too drastic too soon, but for now we'll lube it all up and hopefully it'll last us a little bit longer, because I replaced these last year and I've also replaced this hub last year, and this hub is the one that's giving me issues, the same one that I replaced. So we will replace it again this week. I'm gonna go pick up some pads and a hub. But it is pretty simple. It's 3 bolts in the back here, a 36 mil for your axle nut, and that's it. That's it. You literally take it right off and you bolt in the new one with 3 new bolts. So we will be getting those. So hold on for that video, guys. It is coming out. Definitely stay tuned. But for now, let's finish lubing this all up and we'll put it all back together and we'll go for a drive and see if it still pulls. But I can guarantee you it will. Well, that's it, guys. We've pretty much finished everything and we found the culprit of why well, actually I don't know why our pads are wearing, but I found why we're pulling to the left. So we're gonna get new pads and we're gonna address all of that, and I'm gonna take my die grinder and just clean all the surfaces up one more time when I take that off and I do the pads, make sure that everything is nice and clean. And last but not least, I've got to tighten up my skid plate, because if you guys have been following the build, we just put in the skid plate about a week ago and I haven't checked, but let's see if there's any scratches on it from our last off-roading trip. And not too bad. There's a few light scratches, but nothing that went down to the metal, so looking pretty good. And now all we need to do is tighten up these 3 bolts, because every time you do actually remove this skid plate, it's good to make sure to tighten these every few 100 kilometers, just so that you don't have any issues. And they do actually come loose after a bit. I know from experience that I have tightened them down a few times. So we went off-roading last weekend and it's time to tighten them down again. And you know me, I'm the master of torque specs, so just tight enough. This side isn't as bad. So, I was about to say, if you guys aren't mechanically inclined or you don't know how to wrench on your own stuff, you shouldn't get a Jeep. But you know what? You should get a Jeep, because you'll learn real quick and you'll start wrenching on all kinds of stuff real quick. And it's actually pretty damn easy to work on these things. They're probably the easiest vehicle I've ever worked on. Everything is out in the open, everything is right there and accessible, and it's pretty simple to look at how everything is put together and pretty simple to figure out how to take it apart and fix it. And I gotta tell you guys, I'm super happy with my purchase here. The Milwaukee M18 fuel brushless mid-torque impact is a beast. This thing works great. I honestly haven't had any issues with it so far. It is my first time using it, but it works great. The power is there and it barely used any battery today at all. I was at 3 and I'm still at 3. But the main thing that I was gonna say is this one has the friction ring. As you guys can see there, the ones with the deadened pin are such a pain in the ass, because the pin will go inside this little notch that you have on your sockets, and you're gonna have to put something in there to release the pin every single time to get the socket off. Unlike this one, where you can see, if I line it up properly, there, you can get it on and off quite simply, even with one hand. they come off pretty easy. So it's nice to have the the friction ring and not have to worry about having something to push that pin in every single time, because that could definitely be a pain in the ass. But yeah, if you guys are out there looking for one, or looking for an impact gun I should say, I definitely recommend this one. And yeah, if anybody has something better to use, let me know. But so far, I'm really impressed. So we pretty much fixed everything, or we finished everything for today I should say. We didn't fix too much because we still have to get the hub bearing and we have to get ourselves new pads. I don't know why they're wearing that fast. Once again, please, if you guys know why they're getting eaten up so quick on the passenger side, let me know. I'd really be interested to know, because I want to replace them and not have it happen to me again. I'm thinking it might be a line, but I checked the lines, none of them are actually swollen, and the fluid is flushed and new. But yeah, I'm kind of at a loss. So if you guys have any ideas or any suggestions, let me know. But right now, let's go for a spin. Let's go for a quick little test drive and see if everything is as it should be, and see if it still does pull, which I can almost guarantee it will. But we might as well go try, and after we did all that work, I just want to make sure we don't have any other new noises. So let's go and let's take it for a quick rip. And don't forget guys, we've got the key tags in yellow and in red, as well as the stickers in holographic, which you can see here, and in the plain white. And if anybody is wondering why it says play dirty, it doesn't mean go kick someone in the nuts and take their Jeep. It means basically go out, have some fun, get some dirt under your nails, go out there, go off-roading, get sweaty, get dirty, do something that has you getting dirty and getting fun, because whoever had fun staying clean? Nobody. That's right. So go out there and do something that you love and get dirty, play dirty. Now let's go for a test drive, and make sure whenever you do any kind of work on your brakes, before you start driving, pump your brake pedal a bunch of times to get the pressure built back up and get that your caliper seated and everything, because you don't want to go down the road and press the brakes and nothing happens, because that's exactly what's going to happen if you don't pump your brakes. So feels good now, and let's try the e-brake. Not rolling yet. Let's see. Yeah, no, it doesn't do anything. We're still rolling. So I need new shoes. The e-brake does not do much. It still rolls even with the e-brake all the way to the roof. So now let's go for a ride. Let's see if it still pulls. And like I said, I'm pretty sure it's gonna pull. And let's go. First test here at the lights. Neutral, drop, and brake. And yeah, you can see it still does pull to the left. So we don't really have to do too much more testing. It's gonna keep pulling to the left until we change those pads. So let's go, let's cruise back a little bit. Let's try it a little bit more, I guess. And yeah, we'll see. But like I said, I'm pretty much gonna guarantee it's gonna do it until we change the pads. And I have to say, driving without the sway bar for all this time, it honestly drives great. I love it. I love the bounciness of it. I love how it sways and how it just jostles and everything about it. The body roll is awesome. I think that this is how a Jeep should drive, but to each his own. Some people don't like it. Personally, I absolutely love the feeling. And funny enough, you actually can't hear that wheel bearing. Like, there is no noise coming from it, but it was making a little bit of noise there, so I think it is time to change it. So we will replace it, but while you're actually driving, it sounds pretty normal. And another brake test. Actually, it didn't really pull that time. Let's go and we'll pull into a parking lot here and we'll try it one more time, because it's usually under hard braking and I don't really want to be doing hard braking in traffic if I don't have to. Alright, now we're in a parking lot here. So let's go and let's see if we can actually recreate that and see if it still pulls. And she's not pulling there. So maybe we fixed the issue and we're not having it stick anymore. We cleaned everything and lubed everything. And one more for good measure. Nope, no more pulling. And I did let go of the steering wheel each time just to make sure that I wasn't holding it in place. But no more pulling. So we solved that. It did pull the first time. I don't know if it was the road that was uneven or what that was, or if they were seating themselves still. But no more pulling, so that's a good sign. Now all we got to do is get ourselves that hub bearing and new pads, and we'll be rocking and rolling. So it is the next day, guys. I actually taped the whole outro and finished the video yesterday, but I ended up realizing that after reviewing the footage that I don't need a wheel bearing on this side. And more so after going for a drive, it doesn't sound like I need a wheel bearing on this side, and I lifted it all up again, so I'll show you guys that in a second. But after reviewing the video, and I'll show you guys that clip again in 2 seconds, I think it is the upper ball joint, and that is the piece that was moving. I didn't notice it at the time because I couldn't see it from my angle, and after reviewing the video, definitely it is the upper ball joint on the passenger side. So let me show you guys that clip right now. And you can see basically that's why I think it is the upper ball joint. So you can see it moving here. And you guys can see it is the upper ball joint on this side as well. Now, the hub bearings actually sound pretty good. I think what we were hearing yesterday was the pads not seated properly on this side, and that's why they were basically kind of touching the rotor and giving us that noise, or that scraping noise that sounds kind of like a wheel bearing. But both sides sound the same now, and after driving it, it's pretty damn silent. I would have heard it, especially in the underground here or going through the underpass. So I think we're good on the wheel bearings, and I'm gonna get the new ball joints, and I think we should be good from there. And I've already ordered myself a Curry Rock Jock drag link and tie rod, so I know this tie rod is going out already, and hopefully I can get that in soon and we can take care of that issue as well. Well guys, I think that's about going to cover it for today. I'm glad that we hunted down the problems. Now we know exactly what we need, and it's basically the usual parts that you go through when you start off-roading your Jeep or vehicle, and ball joints, tie rod, 2 upper ball joints, 1 tie rod, brake shoes, and brake pads. So we're gonna need a few things, and it's not that bad. It's all cheap stuff. It's all easy stuff, and I'm just glad we don't have to change out the bearings in the rear or in the front right now. Those should last us for a little bit longer, hopefully. But yeah, you never know. So for now, hopefully we can get everything fixed and back on the road soon. Unfortunately, I probably won't get everything done by this weekend, so we won't be hitting any trails this weekend, but we will be going on some trails soon, so definitely stay tuned. And if you guys are new around here, then drop me a like, let me know what you guys enjoyed, hit that subscribe button because there's tons more content coming your way. And until next time guys, ride safe out there. Peace.